into it so we don't have to take up more of your time than we need to. So we're pretty much going to get right into the finance stuff, but just a reminder, if you have any report, either your committee or your individual senators' reports or anything, please put that in the minutes. I know Secretary Missessini updates that like as we are discussing, but then also just if you have any like announcements or I guess not events that are happening, but anything that everyone needs to know. And please do read that too, just so you can keep in touch with what is going on in Senate, even though we're not meeting formally. So yeah, all right, saying that, we're gonna kind of get right into finance stuff, just like last week. So we have the motions for Tier 2 budgeting. I don't know if anybody, any senators made any particular motions, but there were a few form of concerns that Executive Treasurer Wray inputted into that spreadsheet. So I will allow, if anyone wants to make motions regarding those form of concerns, or if anyone didn't get a chance to really look at the budget, or sorry, not the budgets, but this sheet and fill it out, I'll be a little accepting, but yeah. So does anyone have any, Senator Hershberger, did you want to preface anything else?
I just wanted to ask if you want me to share my screen. I have the slate up.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, so does anybody have any either motions or questions for the Finance Committee or Senator Hershberger regarding the slate, Tier 2 budgeting slate? Please put it in the chat if you have a motion or anything. Okay, so seeing no motions regarding the budget, are there any other motions is there a motion to approve the budget, or up to you guys?
Motion to approve.
All right, is there a second? All right, thank you. So we're going to be using Poll EV as we've been using the past nights. I sent the link to the chat, but if you joined us after that, please just use that link. And so it shouldn't show, sorry, now it should show up. Secretary Missessini, could you confirm how many people we have tonight?
There's 23 senators.
23 senators, okay.
I'm sorry, there's 24.
Okay. Sorry, just one moment. And I think Senator Stanton is going to join momentarily too. So yeah, we should be getting 24 votes. All right, there we are. Okay, all right. The budget passes as a slate, 24-0-0. Quick and easy. All right, moving on to the presentation of our tier 1 budgets. Senator Hirschberger, do you have anything for that? Sorry, I don't know if sometimes it says you leave when you just stop screen sharing, so I don't know if she actually left. Oh, I don't see her in here anymore. All right, so I think she's going to share that in the minutes, so please make sure. Oh, there.
Sorry, it just like froze up and I don't know what just happened. So I can't share tier 1 from my phone, but it's in the minutes. Please look at it before next week. Let me know if you have any questions.
All right. Thank you very much, Senator Hirschberger, for everything. Moving on to, do we have any special reports? I know lately we've mostly been doing reporting through the minutes, but if anybody has any special reports or new business to discuss, now would be the time to bring that up. All right, so we'll start with Senator Mariama.
So kind of like every week so far, this is just strictly about elections. An email went out to the student body this morning, giving people the links to go to the debate that happened this afternoon, and then also just some preemptive information reminding everyone the election is on Friday. We have some images that PRC Grimpy put out, and they're being spread around. Please post on your Instagram stories, text friends, put it in group chats, tell your classes. Just remember that ballots will be sent via email. It's a Google form ballot. It'll be sent via email on Friday morning. People have from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Time to vote on the presidential and vice presidential elections.
All right, thank you, Senator Mariama. Do we have any other? Yes, Senator Steinheiser.
Hi, everybody. I sent you guys SR001 SP20 a couple days ago, and so now I'd like to present that as new business due to the situation that we're in and the fact that everybody had this ahead of time. I'm going to spare you all and not read it, but it's essentially just a resolution requesting housing, parking, dining, and general fee refund due to the COVID-19 crisis. I can run through a little bit of the operative clauses. So it's a prorated refund, very similar to what Cam included in the forum of concerns. It also addresses communication issues and says that the COVID-19 task force and the presidential council should communicate by email to the entirety of the campus community a minimum of once a week, and then include faculty and staff on every email regarding student affairs. So with that, I would like to motion to move this to old business.
First, do we have any, or sure, I'll accept that, but not motioning it yet. Is there any discussion regarding it? Or does anyone have any questions? I know they had access to it, but just in case any wording changes or anything.
The discussion usually happens after it's old business.
Oh,
yeah.
You're so right. All right, thank you. Yeah. So do you motion to move it to old business?
I do, and I have 2 seconds.
All right, perfect. All in favor? We're going to use that exact same link. Sorry, I forgot to reset it. It'll take exactly like 2 seconds. Okay, so that using that same exact link, please just vote. Perfect. Okay, so the motion passes 2400 to move it to old business. And then we can just go on, and if anybody has any other reports, we can just stay on this for now. All right, so is there any discussion on this, on the refund resolution that Senator Steinheiser has brought up and presented?
I actually have a clarification question. For dining services, would that be a percentage of the total amount that you would pay for that semester? Or would it be like the balance remaining in that account?
So when we said prorated, we left that up to them a little bit. I know like we all had to buy swipes, so they're going to have to figure out a way to prorate that. I'm assuming it's just going to be a percentage of the amount. As for the remainder of the balance, I mean, we really did leave that up to the university as an opportunity to be flexible. But if you have any amendments, you can offer one.
If I can add really quick, we did some peer institution research for this document. A lot of the peer institutions have done like 44% of dining services, 44% of residence payments. That 44%, I mean, that varies amongst institutions, but what that 44% is, it's just like the percent of the funds that were not used. So students weren't on campus for 44% of the semester, so therefore 44% of the payments are going to be reimbursed. We didn't do as much research like into what kind of dining plans those institutions have, so it could vary for Valpo as much as the percentage that we get prorated possibly would vary, but that's just kind of what we're going on.
Can I offer a little bit of a suggestion? I don't know if this necessarily needs to be amended because it was very specific. But I know that I had friends who mentioned they wish their dining balance, aside from their swipes, would have been credited to their student account. So that's like a potential with what students, given that our meal plans are split. I think 44% of whatever swipes you have would make sense. But students did have like $250 or $500 automatically on their account that they could have spent however much of. So.
All right, is there any other discussion on this matter? If not, are there any motions to be made? Motion to vote.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if you guys have any like amendments, like feel free to offer those. Like if you guys have an amendment that you want to just be friendly or something like that, like offer it. But I don't like with suggestions. I can't really do much with that. Motion to open the floor to Vice President DeGraw.
Yeah, it's open. Dr. DeGraw can speak freely.
Sure. Yeah. I think that this is a very well-crafted, reasonable resolution. I do think I would say what I said to the executive team, which is that there is a group that really is working on that question of how to do the possible refunds, credits, that it's complicated because of the funding that is coming from the government, but we're not exactly having the guidance about how we should disperse it and where. So we got clear guidance on the part that we sent out to you already about the emergency funding, but there's other parts of that we're still trying to work through. So I understand that it would be good for, I feel like I have been saying on a regular basis I don't feel like I have been saying on a regular basis as your representative, as the students representative on the President's Council and to the President directly, that students are wanting to see this happen. And I think the words I used with him were maybe losing patience with how long it's taking, how long it's taking us for us to come to resolution. And I've also expressed the desire for more communication. So I don't think anything in here will be a surprise, but I think it's helpful when it comes directly from you all. And I'm happy to represent that to him, or you guys can send that to the president directly, whatever, if this goes through. But that would be, I think we're working on it. I think we're trying, but it also, this makes a lot of sense to me also.
Somebody asked me a question in the chat. They asked, some students have asked if this is appropriate to talk about right now, considering the furlough. Can you speak on that? Yeah, because I mean, I think our role as Student Senate is to express what students want. And this is by far what students want. I don't know about you guys, but my inbox, I've gotten several emails about this. I've gotten several Facebook messages about this. There's a petition going on. So right now, I really do feel like it's our job to represent what students want. And the administration said they were looking for information before they made this decision. I think that students' opinions is some of the most important information that they could possibly have. So I really do feel like, despite that, because of the crisis we're in, that's why we're discussing this. So I feel like that does justify bringing up a refund.
Is there any more discussion on this matter?
I just have a quick question. This might be directed mostly toward Dr. DeGraw, but when this decision would be made, like what body would actually be making that decision? Is it the president's council? Like which body would make the final decision on whether this would happen?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the way it's being handled now is that because what we know so far, well, because it's a financial matter, frankly, it's being addressed with a working group through the finance office and in that area, but that includes somebody from financial aid because there's some real impacts on how the government is saying that some funds have to go back through the financial aid process. And so that working group is looking and continue to look at all the information. And then I believe that there'll be a recommendation that comes from that group that goes to President's Council, which acts as advisory to the president, but it's really up to the president then what he wants to do. What's been happening is then that comes to the group for feedback, and ultimately a decision is made there. But again, it's always advisory to the president. So I would assume that's going to be the process that would happen, but I don't know that for sure. I know the working group is who's kind of gathering all the information, keeping us informed, but then would make a recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
And I see Dua asked about the number being furloughed. We can talk about that separately if you want to, about that communication that went out.
All right, great. Is there any other discussion on this matter on the SR 001 2020? Is there a motion to vote? All right, and a second. Perfect. You guys are great. All right, all in favor. Oh, sorry, I forgot to clear it. All right, all in favor of approving SR 001 Spring 2020, the resolution requesting housing, parking, dining, and general fee refund due to the COVID-19 crisis, please vote using that link. All right, looks like we got all 24. So 24000 or 2400. That is perfect. The motion passes and SR 001 passes as well. All right, thank you all. Do we have any other special reports or announcements from the advisors maybe, or anything else that's...
I guess I just have a clarification now. So Caitlin, do you have a plan for then, or how does this move forward? How do you guys want this, where do you want it to go from here now that it's been voted in?
Yeah, so this resolution's addressed to the President's Council. Typically, when something goes through Senate, it goes to the provost approves it, then it goes on from there. If it could just go directly to the President's Council, that's fine too, but that's really who this is addressed to.
So I think you guys have a choice about how you want that to go. I am your representative on President's Council, so I can bring it to them on your behalf, or you can send it to the president who calls the council together. So whichever one of those routes you want to go, just let me know.
I think Annika actually would probably have the biggest say on that because she is now the student representing this resolution. So however she wants to do it, because if you do abide by the resolution, she would be in the room when it's discussed. So yeah, Annika, if you want to speak on that.
Hello. Yeah, I mean, I think it could go either way. It kind of depends on what Julie thinks would make more sense, whether it going directly to, I guess it depends on who would go to the council or whether it would be better for it to go directly to President Heckler. I mean, I personally don't know who that would be better to go to.
Yeah, and we could make this decision.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
either way, it goes to the president. But it's whether it comes from me or from you. That's all that matters. And you guys we can decide that later if you guys are comfortable with it being in Annika's court. He knows it's coming. I've briefed President's Council that you guys have this resolution in the works and that you were talking about it tonight. So they are ready to receive that whenever.
Sounds great. We'll work on it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you all. All right, I think PRC Grimpy also has one last report.
Yeah, I was just gonna quickly say I sent out an email earlier. Was it yesterday? About creating a little video for me to post on the social medias. I was just doing this just to show that students, to students, that we are still active and that we're still trying to, do what's best for students and kind of bring a little fun to it because I added some of the few like funny prompts and then there's a few more serious student Senate ones. So if you guys could just take a small portion of your day and record a video, that'd be great. And make sure you look at the document that I sent out with it for guidelines and further instructions.
All right, thank you, PRC Grimpy. Any other special reports?
I just want to confirm if we can have an advisor's report from Julie regarding the furlough email from today.
Absolutely. It's still awkward for me to know when I'm supposed to say things. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm seeing the questions that are coming through on the chat. So absolutely. We wanted again to make sure that you all were in the know about major things that are happening. As we've gone along, I think we've talked to you about the ongoing budget challenges that the university was facing kind of coming into the year. And then with COVID-19, that made those challenges even greater, right? And so we had to look at all the different options about we've already, made some reductions even last year. We have already, went down on spending. We've brought our travel budgets. So we feel like we've done all the other things that we could do. And so the furlough was really something that was a decision that was really difficult to make, but needed to happen. I think I just wanted to make sure you guys understood that a furlough means that folks still remain employees of the university during the time that they're gone. So the furlough would start this coming Thursday, and folks would be furloughed until the end of July. So about 3.5 months. But during that time, they do our intention is to bring everybody from those positions back at the end of July as much as we can. But that allows us to really be able to address some of our financial challenges. So I can't necessarily give you a number. That's not necessarily a public thing, but I guess I would say it's a significant number of people, a number of staff members. It applies to staff members. I don't think that was in the email because the faculty have already basically almost taught the whole time by the time the furlough would go in. So you can't sort of furlough people that have already completed the work for their term, but there was an offer for a voluntary furlough for faculty members. And some folks have volunteered. I'm not sure how many. The provost was just getting some of those responses today. The other thing that we did do that was not in the email to you all, but there are a significant number of employees are taking salary cuts, including, like you have heard, the president is taking a 30% cut, vice presidents are taking 20%, and then it's scaled down from other employees based on salary, and then our kind of there it stops at a point for our lower salaried employees that don't have a cut. So anywhere between 2% up to 10% based on folks' salary. So employees are also taking a pretty substantial salary reduction overall. So that is, I think is, I that went out to faculty and staff. So I don't know that that's, I share that so that you realize that part of that was done also to be sharing the, I guess, the pain across the institution, so that it's not just the furloughed employees that are trying to share that load. So, yep, I think that is that. Oh yeah, okay, so you've heard this is phase 2. What is phase 3? I don't know. Phase 3 would go into effect after July 31. So hopefully phase 3 is that we're able to bring back employees. But we are as a leadership team already doing contingency planning for the fall about what would happen, all kinds of things, like what if, hopefully we're back in person and everything is kind of moving back to normal, but what if we're still online? What if we haven't moved away from the shelter in place, or we come back and then there's a second wave? All those things are being considered right now by the leadership team. Let's see, oh gosh, I need my glasses. What revenue sources have we lost that we're leading to the constraints? Well, we were coming into the year, we were pretty substantially down. And so we only really get revenue from you all from tuition and fees at the beginning of each semester. So the issue isn't that we're losing revenue, it's that there's money going out that we had not intended that was going to be going out in a pretty substantial way, I guess would be the easiest way to put that.
I have a really quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't really want to type this. It was kind of long. But
Yeah.
you talked in there about the, like, in the furlough, there's an expectation or a hope to bring back all of the employees in July, I think you said?
Well, end of July, so August technically. So
Is there-
the furlough goes through the 31st.
Okay. And then kind of like, I just was curious, is there in there that like all the furloughed employees like will be brought back like eventually, or is it like there's a possibility that some of these that don't get it brought back on July don't get brought back at all? Like, is there protection for them in there?
No, furlough is, we can't guarantee anything. I guess the difference between like a furlough and a layoff is we are definitely saying you're not an employee anymore, right? Furloughs, as I can tell you that our intent is, in our incoming class will make a big difference about that. So some of this is this is happening on universities across the country, by the way, unfortunately. But it's really hard to know what our incoming class is going to look like, because like a lot of places, the deposits just have sort of taken a pause. And so we don't know, but hopefully our enrollment will be strong in the fall again once everything starts to pick up. That will make a difference, but there is not a guarantee for furloughed employees.
Okay.
All summer classes are online this summer. So except for maybe a couple that apparently have like a practicum or internships. So that was a question. And then student employment will probably be very little this summer, because we are likely to still be imagining that things are going to go into summer as far as not being able to have folks to campus, but we are really discussing all of that right now, especially what would happen with focus. I don't know if that's ISIS where you're going with that, but that will definitely be something we talk about. All departments, all areas have been hit by furloughs, Craig, unfortunately. So there's really not a specific job type or, I mean, other than staff, like we talked about, it's staff, not primarily not faculty, unless faculty have volunteered that. Any other ones?
Didn't want to type.
I don't think it should have an effect on the implementation of the present software, but I'll be honest, we haven't actually talked about that. I do believe that there are probably some furloughs in that area. So, but that's not public knowledge. I only know the ones that, frankly, that are in my area at this point. So as as they become known in other areas, that will be definitely something I can come back to the group with, whether that is a thing. And right now, layoffs are not on the table. Those were considered as part of all these options. And we went with the furlough option at this point because we really, really want to bring employees back. And there has not been any further decisions on when the commencement might be for 2020. It's too soon because we just don't know when people can travel again and when we can get people back on campus. So we're kind of waiting a little longer on that. It will not affect summer classes because the furloughs don't affect faculty. So I don't believe that any of the classes will change since they're all online. Well, I don't know that it matters that they're online. They're still being taught by faculty, I guess. Yep. No, that's why the email went out to you to say that that is not going to necessarily be public knowledge about who was furloughed. So you should, you can still continue to email people. And if you don't hear back, then I would suggest you send something to those department heads, the department emails that they put in your email. Or if you want to just start by sending it there first, then they can direct it to the folks that are still in the office at that point. Right. And this is all very so we haven't even had the meetings with the folks who are furloughed yet. Right. So it's all very, very new. And then, yeah, there'll be for those employees who are out of the office, they will definitely have their vacation notice off. And the supervisors have proxy for them and we'll be checking their emails and such. Final exams decisions. I do not know anything about that piece. How finals will be widely given graded. I don't know that that's different than it has been. Ben, can you tell me more about what you're wondering?
I'm just wondering if the university is implementing a certain way that professors have to give finals, have to grade finals. If it's going to be a decision that they have to record us taking a final, because I know some students in their classes have had to record themselves taking their exams to submit so their professors know what's going on. So I was just wondering if there's been any wide decisions on how they have to be graded, if they're going to be more lax grading them, stuff like that.
I do not know that, but it may be a conversation that's happening with the provost, so I can check into it and get back to you. It hasn't been anything that's come to the president's or provost council that I know of. Yeah, I was going to say in EPC, you haven't heard anything, Annika? I don't think so. So I'll find out, Ben.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. DeGraw, for answering many of those questions. Really appreciate it and hearing kind of what is going on behind the scenes. Okay, so I think that was the last report. Were there any other reports that people really needed to say to the whole Senate? No, seeing none. All right, well, thank you all for being here. Thank you for participating, asking questions, and voting. We will be doing Tier 1 budgeting next week. Please review those, the proposed budgets that are in the minutes from Senator Hershberger. And then I will be sending out once again. It'll be actually the same link. It'll just be a different tab on it. That will be for Tier 1. and you can post any motions that you want for Tier 1 budgets there. So yeah, once again, please make sure you fill out and read the minutes. Other than that, I will see you guys all next week. All right, bye everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.